Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Live Album War. Today, we're going to look at two bangers from the 70s. One released in 1973, one released in 1977. The players on this day, well, maybe I should show you well, this is the first one, Uriah Heep Live from 1973. Of course, this is what that original cover looks like in full. Right, I'm going to slip that back in its reissue, remastered case. And the other one from 1977, the fine Dutch band, Goldenearring Live. Ironically, both of these recorded in England. All right, so you got this particular one was recorded at the Town Hall in Birmingham. Okay, the other one was recorded at the Rainbow Theatre in London. Okay, both fine sets. All right, both pretty hard rocking and heavy, okay, and both containing a slew of many of the greatest tracks from the band up until that point, right? So let's start with this guy right here, okay? I have long been a fan of this album and this band. This is, for my money, one of those kind of great live albums from the 70s. Tala agrees. Great live albums from the 70s that, maybe don't get talked about in that upper hierarchy of those fantastic live albums from that era. But, man, it deserves to be up there. Or if not up there, it's pretty damn close. So, starting off, you got Sunrise. A new day dawned, folks, right? Sunrise, a great start off to this concert here. The great Ken Hensley Hammond organ, nice rockin' tune. That goes into Sweet Lorraine. Okay, which is, the Heep the Heep did boogie, they did prog rock, they did psychedelia, they did heavy rock, okay, they did it all. Sweet Lorraine's kind of like that up-tempo boogie rocker of theirs. The wonderful Traveler in Time, next up, more killer organ work from Ken Hensley. Then you've got the heavy, the up-tempo and speedy, Easy Living, probably the band's most well-known track. Then continuing on, remember this was a double album. You got July Morning, all right, the extended July Morning with a great solo from Ken Hensley, just one of the more kind of epic spacey tunes from the band. Tears in My Eyes, up-tempo heavy rocker. Of course, the heavy juggernaut of a track, Gypsy. We often talk about Uriah Heep as being one of those bands that were like the forerunners of what later became heavy metal. So you got Zeppelin and Sabbath and Purple and Heep, right? Throw Blue Cheer in there, throw Sir Lord Baltimore in there, maybe Hendrix and Cream, right? Maybe Budgie. But a tune like Gypsy, man, how heavy is that song? That's metal, right? That's a bludgeoning riff there. Great on this album. Probably my favorite version of it on here. Then you've got Circle of Hands, the beautiful Circle of Hands. Soaring track. Again, Heap at their proggy best, right? Then back to some more heavy rock or metal. Look at Yourself. Title track to that very fine album. Another definitive version of it here. Love it. Then you've got The Magician's Birthday. Okay? Title track. Off a great album, Demons and Wizards, The Magician's Birthday, two seminal Uriah Heep albums, done wonderfully on here. And then you got Love Machine, another kind of boogie rocker, with some sizzling guitar licks from both Mick Box and Ken Hensley. All right, and then to finish it all off, you got the rock and roll medley where they play, Roll Over Beethoven, Blue Suede Shoes, Mean Woman Blues, Hound Dog, At the Hop, whole lot of shaking going on in Blue Suede Shoes to kind of tie it all together. For my money, I don't know why a lot of the heavy rock bands of the era would do these like rock and roll classic medleys, that's like they did it, and Deep Purple played Lucille, and the Scorpions did it. It's just like, I would have rather heard another couple of Heep tracks, right? But this, that's the double live album right there. The reissue's got a couple extra tracks on here from little radio shows and other mixes and things like that, but that's the album. It's a great album. It's a very powerful album. Okay, on to Goldenearring. Okay, a band known for throughout the 70s for a tune called Radar Love, which is a great tune, but not nearly the best song the band ever did. It's amazing how sometimes in the history of rock and roll, you get these bands who strike big with a song, and that becomes like the one song that everybody knows from the band, and most people don't know their other songs and the rest of their material. And actually, that tune usually works out to not be even close to being the best song from that particular band. I'll use Thin Lizzy as another example. With The Boys Are Back in Town. There's a ton of other songs that are better than that one from their catalog. It's kind of the same thing with these guys, right? So, you had Radar Love and Twilight Zone, the two most known songs from the band, but they actually had a lot of other great albums and songs, man. In fact, I'll go on to say that a lot of their early albums, the ones that kind of preceded this one, heavy, rocking, all right? I have turned on a lot of people to the music of Golden Earring, their 70s albums, and they only knew, like I said, those two songs, and I would play them some of these other albums, and they're like, this is great, who is this? It's like, this Golden Earring, pretty heavy, right? Some of their stuff is kind of proggy too, so you got a nice little collection of songs on here. All right, you got Candy's Going Bad kicking off this album. That's a great tune. All right, it's got a nice little hook, great dual guitar licks on it, man, great stuff. She Flies on Strange Wings, my favorite Golden Earring song. It's a kick-ass heavy rock anthem. I'm telling you, it's catchy. It's got great riffs. The vocals are outstanding. What else? Mad Love Comin', another really cool tune. And most of the songs here are like stretched out. So a 5 or 6 minute tune, studio track now becomes 8, 9, 10 minutes long. What else? 8 Miles High. Okay, Cover the Birds classic, which these guys, did on their studio album, and kind of made that song their own. It's excellent, very proggy, a lot of interesting guitar work on there. Then you got Vanilla Queen, all right, which finishes off. I always want to say that finishes off disc 1 of the CD set. Okay, that would have finished off the end of LP number 1, right? It's a side A, side B. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of get this all straight here, because of course the CD doesn't break it down that way. And Vanilla Queen, another mandatory track from Golden Earring. That one's nearly 12 minutes long, right? So then over on the second disc, which would be starting off with side 3 of the LP set, you've got To the Hilt, title track from that very fine album. All right, great rendition here. Fighting Windmills, which is terrific on here. Again, kind of rocking, kind of proggy, still catchy. Then you've got Con Man, which here is 9 minutes long, rocking. Radar Love, which crosses over 11 minutes. All right. I actually like the studio version better than the live version. Okay. And then finishing it all off with the heavy Just Like Vince Taylor. Okay. So this is a really strong live album. Okay, and I would say if you really don't have any experience with Golden Earring at all, I've already seen comments on our Facebook page of people like, oh, I really haven't listened to Golden Earring much, and I'm sure there's people out there, right? This would be a great place to start, just to see if you like the music, but I think you would. And I guarantee you probably could go out and buy 4 or 5 of their CDs or buy the LPs of the albums that kind of came before this, and you'll be pretty happy with them. Some really good stuff. I was surprised. I actually didn't start getting into Golden Earring probably about 10 years ago, and I went and bought a good chunk of their catalog, and I was like, man, this is great. Again, it's always nice to discover bands that you only ever knew a song or two by, and then you go deeper into their catalog, and you're like, wow, that's pretty serious stuff. So a band probably that should have been a lot bigger than they were. All right. I know they had a lot of success in their home country and a bit of success here in the States, but, again, it's mostly those 1 or 2 songs. So when I kind of look at both of them together, all right, I dig both of these bands. I dig both of these live albums a lot. But when it comes down to it, again, you talk to anybody, when you're having a discussion about albums you love, you tend to go with the ones that you have the most history with, okay? There's always a lot of factors that go into it. For me, okay, I'm going to favor my beloved Uriah Heep because they're one of my favorite bands of all time, and I've been listening to them since I was a kid. So this, for me, has long been one of my favorite live albums. They're one of my favorite bands. They're a top 10 band for me. And they're gonna. That's my preference. They're gonna get my pick here. But you know what? There's probably plenty of people out there that dig this album better. In the end, it doesn't really matter because we know that the focus and purpose of these classic album war shows, or in this case, we're doing the live albums, is more to just have discussions about what we love about these albums, or maybe what we don't love about them, and then just give a pick, just like we would in a conversation at a bar, at a restaurant, or out at the park, or at a concert. You're talking about albums like, yeah, I love that, I like that one a little better. That's all we're doing here. Why you like what you like, what your preference is. There's no losers here, right? And we're not saying this one is better than this one. No, this is the one I prefer, but I love this one too, right? The ultimate goal, though, is we're doing polls on the Facebook page, and we're trying to find out, and it's a lengthy process. We're trying to go through all those greatest rock live albums in history, all right, the ones that are really looked at as the great ones, and specifically the ones that I own and I have a lot of history with. Okay, so for a few of you who are like, oh, I hope you're going to put Dylan's live albums up there. I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. I don't own any Bob Dylan, so we're not going to cover Bob Dylan. Sorry, guys. But we're going to try and find out which is, you the viewers, which is your favorite rock live album of all time. So you're going to see I should just say classic live album of all time, because I don't want to just say rock, because we're going to throw some prog in there, obviously, and some jazz fusion. So you're going to see Mahavishnu, Miles Davis, and also Weather Report and all that kind of stuff. In addition, there's going to be some metal in there too, so for all you Maiden and Priest fans and Scorpions, Motorhead, you're going to see all that stuff. We're going to try and get to as much of it as we can. All right. And it's going to be a tournament, so we're going to have like brackets. So the winners of all the first rounds are then going to start going off against each other in bracket number 2, and then eventually we will come down to like the final 4, and then eventually we're going to have a winner. So you can put in your predictions of which live album you think is going to be the champion of this whole thing when it's all said and done, probably before the holidays this year. We'll see. I've got my predictions. I'm going to kind of keep them to myself, but I'm pretty sure I can think of like the last kind of 4, 5, or 6. But maybe I'll be surprised. You never know. Okay, you never know. That's what makes this kind of fun, because it's really going to be interesting to see like how everybody kind of looks at all these albums and which ones kind of reign supreme over the other. But for today, for my pick is Uriah Heep Live. But like I said, I love this one quite a bit too. They're both great. But curious to see what you guys think. And while you're watching, while you're putting in your comments, make sure you also go to www.seatranquility.org. Visit our webzine there. We've got 22,000 reviews and all sorts of cool stuff, interviews and things like that on there. This is on the Facebook page. Vote on this poll. That's basically what we do on the Facebook page. We promote stuff on the channel, on the webzine, and also put up daily polls, album battle polls and things like that. So vote which one you like best. Add your comments there too. We're on Twitter. We occasionally go on Twitter and kind of tweet all sorts of things that are going on, things we're doing, so on and so forth. So make sure you tune in this weekend. We've got more classic live album wars coming up. Got some special guests. Chris Allo and Jeff Young going to be joining me as well. So look out for that. I hopefully will squeeze any questions and answers show this weekend as well. And, all sorts of great stuff in the works. It's going to be a busy next couple months, guys. So I hope you're along for the ride, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.